everyone, welcome back to my channel So Little Time, and my name is Karen. So today is reveal day for the Sew Frugal 22 challenge that was organised by Sam at Frugalissima and Ruan from the Yorkshire Sew Girl. I firstly have to say congratulations to everybody who has made a garment for this challenge. It's been such a lovely month to be able to do it. We've had some gorgeous sunshine and it really did get my spring vibes flowing. And it's been lovely to see some of the work in progress photos that have been appearing on the hashtag SewFrugalWIP. So that's been really nice as well. And I know there has been a lot of people who have made the same pattern as what I am currently wearing, as you can probably see which pattern it is that I have got on. But I firstly just want to say a huge thank you to Ruan and Sam for organising this again, as I know how much work and effort has gone into this. They've also been sharing all of the prizes that are available on a daily basis as well. So do make sure that you upload your photo on Instagram on the 31st of March today, so that you are in for a chance of winning one of the amazing prizes that have been kindly donated by the sponsors. So I shall get straight stuck into then my first make. Now I've made two garments, and as you can see I have chosen to use this gorgeous fabric which I originally got from Andrea at Beyond the Pink Door. I've had it in my stash for quite a while and I really didn't have any plans for it, so I have paired it up with the Paddington Top by Peppermint magazine. Now recently they had a flood disaster, so although you can get their patterns for free from their website, I did actually put a donation forward for this. So I paid £10 for this top, but it was mainly to go towards their fund for the flood, really. So this is a free pattern still, if you can't afford to donate anything. And I have to say that I had mixed feelings about this top when I first made it. So I shall go into detail about the make itself. So it's the Paddington Top by Peppermint magazine, and this is the line drawings here, as you can see. There's quite a generous size range for this, and it is quite an oversized top as well, so you may want to size down if you've not made this already yourself. I did actually make the same size as the wrap top that I'd made by the Peppermint magazine before, which was the size C. Now I'll put along the bottom of the screen the actual sizes that are available in this particular top. But because it was quite oversized, I did find that it was a little bit too big for me when I finished making it. So what I ended up doing was using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance instead of the 3/8 of an inch seam allowance that's included in the pattern. And so I got a much better fit on myself for that. But next time if I make this pattern again, I would just size down to the size B. So it's got quite voluminous sleeves, and it's a very sort of boxy top, although it does flare out here in an A-line shape, which is great for my shape. As you know, I am quite wide on my hip area in comparison to everywhere else. And then it's got this lovely button placket down the back, and then the sleeves are gathered into some very wide elastic. So I had, luckily, all of that in my stash already, so I haven't had to purchase anything for this top. And whilst I was at the Stitch Festival in London recently, I bought some buttons, so I had those as well, and I got those from Ethel and Joan. So I was really pleased to be able to use those. So the first thing I'll say about this pattern is that the sleeves are absolutely huge before you gather them into the elastic, so much so that I've got the pattern here to show you if you've not made this before and want to see what the actual sleeve piece is like. So I'm just going to grab that. So excuse the funky coloured paper that I've used to print my pattern off, but this is the sleeve. So look at how wide that is, absolutely huge. And if you're somebody that has made the sagebrush top before, you'll know that that's quite a large pattern piece as well, but this was near enough double the size, I have to say. So I was quite intrigued as to how I was going to be gathering all of this fabric into the elastic area. But yeah, absolutely massive. And when I first had the sleeves attached without gathering them in, they were very angel-like, you know, they were really, really wide. And I was on a Zoom with Angela from Devon Threadtails, and we were laughing about it actually. And I said, I don't know if I'm going to like this top once I've finished it. And I have to be completely honest, I wasn't 100% taken with it when I first finished it. I think it's just the volume of the sleeves. I just wasn't used to that amount of fabric at the side of me, and it's quite a loose fitting top as well, so it did feel quite big on me. So I just wasn't used to that silhouette. As you know, I usually have sort of quite close fitting clothes really. I absolutely love the fabric that I've chosen. I'm really pleased that I did use this fabric for this top. I love the buttons that I've used as well. So I'll give you a shot of the actual pattern in more detail itself then. So it's got quite a wide neckline, and it has raglan sleeves. And that was one thing where I'd used 5/8 of an inch seam allowance to bring it in. It did make the neck slightly smaller, which I'm quite pleased about, because otherwise you could see my bra straps. It was, you know, quite a wide neckline. I really do like raglan sleeves, but because this style of sleeve is quite poofy, I don't know if I prefer an inset sleeve around this area here, just to give it a little bit more poof at the top, just to balance me out a little bit more. And I have actually found I do prefer wearing this top when I've got my hair sort of down in my clips as I wear it, because it just feels like it balances out the whole wideness of this pattern. So I'm going to pan you down just so you can see the top in better detail. So I've actually lengthened the bodice of this top. I've lengthened it by 2.5 inches, I believe, on the front and the back at the short and lengthen lines. Initially I added that amount to the bottom of the hem, but because it already has quite an A-line shape, that actually went out a bit too trapeze style for me. So I ended up just doing that at the short and lengthen lines, and I much prefer that. So I've only used a very narrow hem of about 2 centimetres. So I probably would in future add more length so I could have a deeper hem, because I do prefer a deeper hem on tops and things. So the sleeve is gathered into this wide elastic here, and I've just kind of made it so it's not too tight on me, so I can still put my fingers up there, but it's not too loose either. And with this style of fabric, with it being a cotton lawn, it does hold the shape of the sleeves. So I have been playing around with how I feel I like wearing them, and I do prefer them just sort of near my elbows. And I will insert some photos in a minute actually of the photos that I took to upload onto Instagram, because I pushed the elastic up. So I had it more kind of like this as per the picture of the model wearing this top. So it's personal preference, I suppose, as to how you have it. So you can kind of have it like that, which I think equally looks as nice as well. But I think I just feel more comfortable with it just like that, so it's not too wide on me, and that's just personal preference. So I'll turn around so hopefully you can see that the button placket is down the back there. I have used my Ethel and Joan buttons, but you might not be able to see them because they're clear, and the little bits of colour that are in them actually go really well with the colours in this fabric. The make overall was actually really, really easy to sew, especially as it's raglan sleeves. You know, there's no gathering of any sleeve heads or anything like that, and it's just a boxy style top. So you've literally got the front piece, the back piece, and a sleeve piece. So there's 3 pieces to this pattern. And then also on the button placket, I did cheat and I haven't used buttonholes. I've just sewn the buttons straight through, purely because I can get it on and off over my head, you know, fairly easy, because the neckline is really quite wide, really. The only tricky bit of this pattern is actually gathering the sleeve into the elastic, or not into the elastic, but creating the channel, should I say, for the elastic to go through. And I know Michelle from Sew Bunny has done a entire sew along for this top, so I'll link that video in the description box below for you as well. And I did just have a quick look on how she did her sleeves, because the instructions, although they're really clear, I was just a little bit questioning how I had to go about doing it. But I did have a look at another sew along that I found on YouTube, and I found that they had gathered the gathering stitches around the sleeve, bottom of the sleeve, slightly differently to enable you to create a casing for the elastic. So I just found that a lot easier to follow, and it was done just slightly different. So I will link that down below, because you don't actually then pull on the gathering stitches to gather all the sleeve in before creating the casing. They did it slightly differently, and it was just a little bit easier to follow. So I will link that, and hopefully if you've not made this top, or you have already done so and struggled with that, it may help you out. But overall, I have actually come to really like wearing this top. I've worn it a lot more than I thought. Today I've got it on with my Joan trousers from the Friday Pattern Company. So I'll just pan you down so you can see what it's like. They're quite a wide trouser, so initially I wasn't sure if like a wide top with wide trousers would be a nice look, but I do find that I pick these up as a pairing together more regularly than I do anything else. I have worn it with just some like blue jeggings, which are like, you know, a sort of skinny fit jeans style, which you just pull on, and they're really high-waisted, and it does look quite nice with that, although I just feel, for me, I prefer the wide leg of this just to balance me out a little bit with my hips. So I'll just show you what it looks like together. And so if I stand back, they're this lovely blue colour, and I will be sharing this in my next makes video as well, because this is a recent make, and I've got it on just with some Adidas style trainers. So, you know, you could just dress this up or down really, this top. Yeah, and I really like how that kind of looks together. So like I say, I used 5/8 of an inch throughout for this pattern, so it has brought it in a little bit more at the sides because it was really, really boxy on me. And the length, I'm definitely glad that I added that length, because if I hadn't have added 2.5 inches to that section there, it would have been way too short for me, you know, probably up here. And that is literally in line with my waistband, so I'm really glad that I have added that length. So yes, I really do like this pattern then, so I shall get changed into my Sew Frugal make number 2. Right, so here's make number 2, Sew Frugal 22, and I absolutely love how this dress has turned out. So I firstly just want to say thank you very much to everybody who commented on my plans video for Sew Frugal, because you suggested this fabric pairing for this dress, and I'm really, really pleased that I went with that, so thank you so much. You can see there's a theme going on with the mustards and teals. Really do like that colour scheme, and it really does complement my skin tone as well, so thank you so much. The dress itself was a really, really lovely sew. So I'm going to show you the front of the pattern cover. So this lady here is wearing it in a woven fabric, which is a brocade style fabric, I believe. And as you can see, it really does hold the shape of the box pleats in the skirt, and that's really, really nice. And she has got it on with a belt there as well. So I opted to use this fabric, which is actually a scuba fabric, and it's a Lady McElroy fabric called Chaffinch Bow. And I've always really liked this design, and this fabric was actually gifted to me by a friend not so long ago last year, so I'm really pleased that I was able to use this fabric for this dress, and I'm just so pleased with how it turned out. So when I spoke to you about it in my plans video, I did say that this dress pattern actually only comes in a size 10, and it's from the Vera Venus website, and I will link that down below for you. But I know that Laura from Sew Different Patterns had made this dress up in a scuba fabric herself, which is where I got the idea from. And she'd graded the pattern out slightly to be a size 12 for her figure. Now, I sort of am roughly about a size 10, 12 anyway in sort of shop bought clothes. So I thought the size 10 would be okay for me. And it did give you the bust and waist measurements for this pattern as well. And I'll put those across the bottom of the screen. So I thought I'll just go with it. And if I need to alter it, all I would do would just adjust the seam allowance size. The seam allowance included in this pattern is 5/8 of an inch, and I didn't have to adjust that at all. So I just went with that. But what I have done is just changed it slightly, because this dress pattern does have a zip included in it. And because I've used a stretch fabric, a scuba fabric, I didn't need to include the zip. So that was quite nice. I mean, I've never actually installed a zip using jersey fabric before anyway, so it would have been a new challenge for me to do that. But I just didn't think it was worth doing it just for that reason, as it wasn't necessary for me to put it in this dress, as I can just put it on over the top of my head, absolutely no problem. So I'll just show you the line drawings of the pattern itself. So it's got these bust darts here, and then waist darts, which come up quite high, and then you've got the box pleated skirt, and then down the back you've also got some darts there, and as you can see, this is where the zip would have been included, and I'm not sure if that was an invisible zip or not. Then it's got this lovely V neck at the back, and kind of like a boat neck style for the front. So I really do like that style of bodice on me as well. I do find that really quite flattering, and I'm really happy with how this dress has turned out overall. I'm so thrilled with it, and I actually wore it for my next door neighbour's 50th birthday party that we went to, and I just absolutely loved wearing it that night, and I was dancing around, and it was so comfortable to wear. So I'm really, really pleased that I managed to make that in time for that party. So the bodice then is really nicely fitted up here around my under the arm section. You know, there's no gaping whatsoever, and the neckline is really lovely as well. Now it has a facing, which I've just cut, and I actually haven't even finished the edges on that. And I had to, I think the way I cut it, though I didn't have quite enough fabric, so I had to put a seam in the front facing piece, but you can't notice that. And because this fabric is quite bouncy, with it being a scuba, I understitched all the way around the neckline to ensure that that facing didn't creep out. And I have also as well just sort of stitched in the ditch down the sides there just to hold it in place, and also on the back seam line as well. So even though I haven't put the zip in, I have left the seam line there because I thought perhaps there was some shaping in there as well. I didn't, because a couple of times in the past I've put the fabric on the fold, the pattern on the fold of the fabric, not realising that there was an actual curve in the pattern itself designed to sort of go into your back a little bit more. So I kind of thought I'd just go with that and just leave it as a seam line, and I'm really pleased that I did that as well, because I ended up having to take it in quite a bit, so I'll explain that in a second. So I'll pan you down a bit further. So as you can see, it's got bust starts here and they are pointing where they should be, which is great. So I didn't have to move those at all. And then it's got the waist starts here and they do finish near enough right at the apex of my bust there. And then I'll pan you down a little bit more so you can see the gorgeous box pleats in this skirt. Absolutely love those, and that's on the front, so it makes like a big deep one in the middle and then sort of one either side here and then just a little bit here on the side as well, so you don't actually have any right at the sides, which is good because I didn't want to add any more there than necessary. And then at the back it's sort of near enough the same, and then it's got that seam line down the back, which is where the zip should have been, so you can see that lovely V back as well. So I'll stand back a bit further so you can see the length of the dress. I haven't actually hemmed it. I've just left it as a raw edge because I'm not really sure how I want to finish that. I quite like the length that it is at the moment, but I would like to hem it properly, I think, just to give it a bit more of a professional finish. But obviously because scuba doesn't fray, I knew it would be okay to wear it as is like this for now. So if you have any suggestions of how to sort of hem a scuba dress at the bottom without showing the stitching line, please do put suggestions in the comments box below. And I've just got it on with some navy sort of court shoes. I thought they went quite well with it, with the blues in this dress. Yeah, it's a really nice skirt, very floaty, you know, great for dancing in, and I really did enjoy wearing this dress to my neighbour's party. So with regards to the sizing then, so I cut out the pattern as it was and didn't change any of the shape to the patterns itself. I didn't add or decrease any seam allowances whatsoever, just left it as the 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, and I did use that throughout. But when I came to actually attach the skirt to the bodice, I did find that the skirt, for some reason, was too big to fit into the bottom of the waist. And I wasn't sure if it was me with the way I'd done the box pleats, because it did take me a little bit of time to figure out how to get the box pleats correctly. You know, because they do give you obviously the lines of where you need to fold and that kind of thing, but I wasn't sure if I'd done that right. But I think I had, and I did go back in after I'd finished the dress actually and unpick it slightly, because some of my box pleats weren't sort of closed at the top. There was too much gap, so I had to just go back in and alter that, and I much prefer how that looks now. So I'll just pan you down so I can show you what I mean. So here, there was too much of a gap. It does need to come out like a V on each of the box pleat sections there, and they do line up with the darts as well. So I'm really pleased that I went back in and just altered that, so that brought that in a little bit more. Yeah, for some reason, I don't know why I couldn't get the skirt to fit into the bottom of the bodice. I don't know if it's something that I did wrong, because I followed all the instructions as it tells you to. Now, there aren't any photo illustrations or any fancy photos included in the pattern instructions. It literally just tells you how to do it in just written word. But if you've made quite a few garments before and are familiar, you know, with sewing a dress up, then you should be absolutely fine. But I did manage to fit it in eventually. I think I just had to stretch the bodice slightly to fit. So it is quite roomy around my waist. I don't mind that at the moment, and as I'm losing weight, I will be taking this dress in at a later date. So what I've done is just left all of the seams on the inside completely raw. I haven't finished anything with my overlocker, because if I want to take it in, I want to be able to unpick it easily. But yeah, so I've managed to get it to fit just right at the moment anyway. So at the back though, I did have to take in down the back of the skirt where the seam line is. I did end up taking that in quite a lot to get the skirt to fit. So I think even though you're using 1.5 centimetre seam allowances, I ended up using, I don't know, maybe a good 3 centimetre seam allowance around there, just to bring the back of the skirt in quite a bit, because it was just way too big, too much fabric to fit into the bottom of the bodice basically. So that's how I did it, and I have just cut off some of the excess and left the seams raw so I can take this dress in at a later date. But yeah, I hope you like my dress. I'll just give you another full sort of pan down again, but I absolutely love how it's turned out. Love this colour. The fabric's really nice to wear. It's really comfortable with it being a scuba, and it's not too thick either, you know, it's quite lightweight. So I do think this dress would be really nice to wear to a wedding, if you had like a nice bolero jacket or something to wear with it. I don't really have anything suitable to wear with it at the moment, so that's perhaps something that I will make in the future. But yeah, so pleased with this. So this is my favourite out of the two, but I have been wearing my Paddington top a lot more than I thought I was going to, because I've gotten used to the shape of it and how it feels. You can dress it in different you know, a little bit differently with different bottoms on. I've not actually tried it on with a skirt actually, and even though I did lengthen that top by 2.5 inches, I perhaps would add a little bit more length, one for having a deeper hem, but also if I want to tuck it in, then I need that little bit of extra length to be able to tuck it in. I suppose it depends on how you want to style it, but I've not been able to tuck it into anything because I think it would just come out as you move around. So yeah, that's my 2 makes then for this challenge. I hope you like them. Please leave all your comments down below and I will answer you all, as I'm really intrigued to see what you think to my makes. I thoroughly enjoyed making these 2 garments. They were very easy to do, very quick makes as well. So yeah, they didn't take any time at all really. So that was nice. And again, a huge thank you to both Ruan and Sam for this lovely challenge. It's been lovely being part of it again. And I think it's great that we have the choice of all those different style of garments available to us. And I think the 70 vloggers that uploaded a video every day, you know, it was fantastic just to see what everybody had come back with and what choices they were looking at. So I'm excited to see all of the photos popping up today to see everybody's makes. I know the Paddington top has been a real favourite in the sewing community, so I'll be excited to see everybody else's versions and what sort of fabric they've been using for that. So I hope you've enjoyed my video today. If you have done so, please do give me that all important thumbs up and subscribe if you've not done so already. That would be lovely. Take care everybody, and I shall see you soon. Bye.